The first one is separation from parents. That's puberty. And this separation is probably the most significant. Up to 5 years of age, there's a maximum need for touch.
At this moment, we are creating a child's communication with the surrounding world. The more fulfilled, cheerful, and calm the father is, and the more tender, happy, and content the mother is, the more we shape a child who will do a lot of good in life.
At what age do parents transfer their authority to their child? Is it, I don't know, 3, 10, 18, 21 years old? When a person reaches a stage where they have their own ideas, inherited from their parents, and sets off on their own journey, undergoes separation, and independently builds their own structure and content. You see, when a child already, quite independently from their mom and dad, starts to shape their own experiences and then materializes all their own aspirations and desires.
Mothers, fathers, grandparents, great-grandparents, they all still set the direction. They create trends. Yes, some more, some less. And yes, there are stages when, for example, we give a lot of attention to our children. This is up to 5 years of maximum tactility, tenderness, affection, hugs, kisses, games. Because at this crucial moment, we are actively building a child's communication with the entire world around them. And since they come to understand the world primarily through their parents, or perhaps through other very close relatives, like their brothers, sisters, grandparents, aunts, or even their kindergarten teachers. But it is absolutely crucial that this sense of touch, this tenderness, love, and affection is consistently present, especially during those formative years up to 5 years old. Why? This forms a multitude of open connections through which the child begins to develop and understand global processes that will eventually become harmonious. For if a child is raised immediately, like, I don't know, in the Suvorov school, I recall the Soviet times when a child was taken from their mother and brought back occasionally, and they were somewhere else, shaping children who didn't feel.
So they were kind of closed systems, and it took a lot of effort and energy to open them up. Unfortunately, this often leads to people doing things that are not typical of a human.
So it's cruelty, it's hatred, it's betrayal.
They believe it stems from the fact that until the age of 5, parents didn't provide enough tactile interaction with children, because they are like universes, giving a large amount of information. And children, they absorb all this energy like a sponge.
The extent to which a dad is fulfilled, cheerful, calm, efficient, driven, easygoing, with inner strength, and a mom is tender, happy, and content, is essentially how we shape a child who will do a lot of good in life. And the insufficient number of these vital energy information connections, which are formed when there is no physical touch, no gentle tenderness, no deep love, no sweet kisses, no warm hugs, then
this leads to a child having different principles of interacting with the world, where they will divide things into black, white, bad, good, kind, evil, and will show categorical judgment towards anything that doesn't fit their mental parameters.
This is what I call functionality and algorithms. And, it will react, well, to put it mildly, like there are doctors who love to treat, and there are doctors who love to operate. And some say, we'll cure everything, while others say, we'll cut out everything. So, this also stems from how much love there was in childhood.
Alright, so if a child didn't receive by age 5 that affection, physical touch, and tenderness, can this be changed later on, or somehow self-generated in their own life?
Well, listen, I'm trying to do it. Well, I can't say that I'm really good at it, but it's noticeable, and you can feel it all the time.
I'll tell you anyway, no matter what you say, you have certain ingrained programs that guide you and form your inner core. Somehow, your parents managed to instill this in you, no matter what. Okay, let's look at the next stage. So until the age of 5, a child should simply be surrounded by love, tenderness, and a kind of family bliss. Right? What's with him? Here he is.
And here, it's important to understand that those who believe they must have many children, they themselves become the primary function.
They lack energy production because, well, it takes time to accumulate energy. Well, it needs to be stored. We usually get this energy, information, purpose when we sleep.
And if, let's say, there's a really severe lack of sleep for mom, or maybe for dad, or for both of the parents, and they are just too busy with some, well, really important everyday household tasks, like work, or, I don't know, cleaning, grocery shopping, or structuring all of these, the family budget. And when children become an afterthought, though no one will admit that they are an afterthought, then in that situation, well, we really need to think, is it really worth it for us to have a child every single year? So that later on, these children won't be able to receive the necessary amount of love. Therefore, I am in favor of us doing less, but doing it much better, and giving birth to gods whom we will create and manifest through our own inner state and our profound interaction with them. That's how I see it.
All right. So after 5 years, what kind of capabilities does a child develop? How does he interact with the world? Is he already shaping the events in his own life? Or is he still in?
Well, generally, a child already, like a piece of software, actively shapes and molds events to fit their own needs. They create the necessary conditions so that, in one way or another, energy, information, or any kind of interaction, whatever it may be, comes to them. When there's a noticeable absence of affection, love, or tenderness, and if a person is unable to receive that through simple kindness, or even just a warm, understanding gaze, then they will inevitably obtain it through tears, through loud, desperate cries, or through persistent, demanding behavior, because ultimately, what they truly crave and need is that essential energy. Therefore, right from the very beginning, this individual starts to consciously or unconsciously shape a specific field of events around themselves. That's how it works. Another question is, how much does the realization come? Well, I think there are tendencies here that come from ancestors, that is, genetically. There is software, but why this person came also plays a role. And understanding what information we will give the child from the age of 5 until puberty, it will remain key for them. At this very moment, it's crucial to impart values, truly values. Before puberty, we provide a lot of correct information, accurate information about the values of this world, about ecology, about humanity, about development, about novelty, about science. And all of this really needs to be in a playful, game-like format, pause, with people who themselves truly enjoy and get a real kick out of it, and for whom it is genuinely very, very interesting. And if we do this, then the first stage, it turns out, is the separation from our parents. That's puberty. And this is, probably the most significant separation. Well, it's such a global process, because hormonal levels change, and with them, values and priorities shift.
If previously the child was more like a god and was influenced by energy informational structures, now they are already forming as an individual, a man or a woman. And there it is very important to subtly feel this moment, because you can, through certain exaggerations, instill some boyish things in a girl, and girlish things in a boy. And here, well, it is very important for the girls to have a clear understanding of femininity, and for the boys to have a clear sense of masculinity, but at the same time, for the girls to see what is masculine and enjoy feeling feminine, and for the men to feel masculine and enjoy what is feminine.
So, what I mean is that they, from the standpoint of their own particular gender, will perceive the opposite as an opportunity to then become a god once more, but by uniting with both a girl and a boy.
Okay, and after puberty, this individuality, it just takes all the cards, shaping events, filling and materializing them independently. Or are there other facts?
During this period, things related to your true purpose slowly start to emerge, because you really need to achieve this before you turn 26.
Until age 26?
Yes. So what we're seeing there is puberty begins. And then this period of growth, of self-discovery, yes, it initially presents as boy-girl, the masculine and feminine energies, and then your ultimate purpose, your self-realization.
And it's desirable to, during this period, at least get a feel for who you'll be and what you'll do, and decide if it's for you.
This is quite a difficult process where, well, most people give up because they are doing something inert or not having received the full range of energy, information, opportunities, and support. They cannot understand in which direction to move. And so, of course, our surroundings play, well, an absolutely pivotal role. For the environment we immerse ourselves in, that is precisely what we eventually become. And a human being is perhaps the only living organism that when you place them into virtually any kind of environment, it's possible to create the necessary conditions for them to successfully adapt to it.